Alrighty, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. So King Kyrie here. Let me go ahead and turn that off so that way I'm not being distracted by the music playing in the background. Um, right now I'm going to show y'all a little bit of my play style, and I will go ahead and show you my deck and everything like that. But this is going to be Fishborg Goaties. I'm starting off. First one on my list is a loss. I just played these, however, it took me a while to like not upload, but go through all these, so I forgot what happened. Okay. Let me just go ahead and let you know what happened. This particular duel, this person had an out to every single thing that I had. And so I just couldn't do anything with it. Reasoning in this deck. So Fishborg Goaties. The Fishborgs have monsters level one, 2, 3, 4. Goaties have 2, 4, and 6. And then I also have IceJades in there, which are 5s and 7s. And then I have some other Deepsea Coelacanth or whatever its name is. I have him in there as well. And so I have levels 1 through 7 that they can choose from if they go above 7, which a lot of times they'll do, especially if they don't know what you're playing. Um, you just get a free summon. Very rarely with this deck will they guess right. So that's why I recommend running reasoning, because depending on what you splice into your Goaty deck, it's most oftentimes going to be a free summon, with the exception because I'm playing on the regular ladder. Uh, with what's about to happen here. So I get Ash Blossomed. Okay. I'm thinking, oh, that's fine. You Ash Blossom that, I still have some plays that I can do. Um, and so I'm doing all of this, and then he drops the Maxx. He gets an extra card, and it'll turn out that extra card is a huge detriment. So I do that, then I pass, because I'm not going to try and special summon the Marin Cess, because at that point there would be no point. So he goes, I drop my Maxi, and then there we go. So if he hadn't drawn Maxi and dropped it on me, that fourth card he drew would have been his draw. He wouldn't have had his second Ash Blossom to stop me from doing anything. Then I realize he's playing Bell, and with me not being able to set up any of my plays, he's just going to set up on my turn. Doesn't matter what I summon. I'm not going to have any outs to him, so I just gave up. Yeah, that one was a loss simply because sometimes the cards are not in your favor. And you may be asking yourself, why do you have so many tuners? That's just how the goatees are played. I know some people play with 3 of the level 2s, with the exception of Zep. I don't play with 3 of each copy. I just got unlucky and grew into 2 of those copies, because with the goatees, with Psiics now, it's so easy to get whatever you need into your hand. So there was really no need. So I just ended up getting that, and that was it. Let me go on to the next one. So this one, as you can see, it was 2 days ago. Today's the 24th. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this one because I don't know what this is about. I don't know if this is Goldie or not, or if this is even regular or anything like that. So let me go ahead and open it up and see what it's about. I think this is the regular ladder, and I'm going second. So no, this is going to be my Ice Jades. Now, I know I said goatees, but I'm a water person, and I know Simp King started it first. I should say with MasterDuel, because you can talk to my friends. I'm an Aquarius. I'm a water bearer. I'm a wind sign, which is why I also run Harpies, but I also love the water deck. So in real life, I have Aqua Actress, Ice Barrier, Umi Control, Ice Jades. I have all of those, and so it's super fun to actually being able to translate this from the tabletop to MasterDuel. So I'm gonna go ahead and just continue on with here and talk to you guys about my Ice Jade build, because most people don't build it this way. And so let me go ahead and show you. They use App Blossom here. That's totally fine because I've got the finger, so I'm just gonna finger it, get it out of there, and now I don't run Ash Blossom in this deck. I don't feel like I need it. So I will finger that swiftly, and I think they end up quitting once they realize what kind of board I'm building. I have the potential now to do the Ice Jade lock, which he just prevented from happening, which is fine. But you target with Effect Veiler, which allows me to get Tremora back onto the field, as you plainly saw. And then Amaranthus Coral Anemone. This card here is the creme de la creme when it comes to all of the different water decks that exist. And so I don't know what this person's playing, but I think if I remember correctly, they don't do they don't do anything. They're playing Blue Eyes, um, and so nothing's really going to happen, and I want to protect Anemone, and so I get to do that. And then he falls forward. I'm able to set up my plays for next turn. He's going to do nothing because he can't attack, and the game is pretty much over here because once you draw into this little setup here, let me go ahead and pause it. Once you draw into this little setup here, you will end up getting a pretty decent, unless it gets interrupted and banished somehow, consistent flow of cards every single turn. And so, I will go into that in later greater detail, but I want to just stress that having one of these in your deck when it comes to Ice Jade builds is kind of necessary. And so I think that that is very, very prevalent and very, very important to the deck. That's why I didn't go for Ran Aegrine. Many people probably would have been like, oh, just get any random seven. No, she does a little bit more. Agiocast does a little bit more. And when you look at her effects, it's a quick effect, and it can occur during the battle phase. That's important too. It doesn't happen, I don't think, in this particular duel because it's going to be really quick. But I will show y'all if I ever have the ability to live stream. I'll show y'all what that looks like moving forward. Anyway, press play, activate, reduce that thing's attack, summon out something really hot and heavy, and this is the big brain play. So you summon out Baron de Fleur. Every standby phase, because IceJade Ran is engraved to level 3, every standby phase you can summon her to get her effect by returning Barone back to the extra deck. And some may think, depending on which deck you're playing against, you may not want to do that. But because I used her negate already and I used her destruction already, I'm going to go ahead and do all of this, and I protect her by dropping the Maxx because I don't care if I draw cards or not. What I do care is about getting Aegrine back onto the field. And now, because I have her and Agiocastus, I can create Baronne de Fleur every turn when it comes to my turn. She protects herself once per turn from being targeted and from destruction as well. And then when that does happen, you can special summon a Ice Jade or Water Monster from either your grave or your hand. So it becomes this back and forth, and I think this person realized what was happening and that he had no real out to what was happening, and so it was over. I have tweaked this deck since then, so it's not going to be the same. So I'm not going to show you the deck list. However, I will play with that deck in the future because Ice Jades for Master Duels in anyway is my favorite deck that I have built so far. I did have an account once upon a time, but I didn't know how to link it. I tried transferring it. It took a couple of weeks, and I was like, screw it, and I'm going to start from scratch. So this is also with me playing budgeted decks because I don't have the original stuff that I had when I first started Master Duels when I was playing on my phone. Anyway, going to the Ghoti plays. Very unconventional. And there's one that I hot dogged it. I was going slow and I was playing, I wouldn't say careless. I was going routes that people normally don't take whenever they play what are these things called? Ghoti. Okay. First things first. If you open with this card here, White Creation, Reincarnation, my bad. if you open with this card here, and you have either white sunfish or sardine, you want to grab the other from deck because this right here it'll get you a lot. There are some people that will go into a Synchro 10 or they'll go into a Synchro 6. You could potentially go into two Synchro 6s and a Synchro 10 based off of this particular build. And I think you're going to see that here. So drop the Sardine. Sunfish sees a Sardine on field in one grave, summons one, it becomes a tuner. And in case you don't know, so in case you're new, let me pause this real quick. In case you're new, the new white card, so the white sardine, the white sunfish, and there's also I think the white eel and then the white manta ray, whatever. All fish cards very spliceable in the Ghoti deck. When you are playing, when they come back from the grave, and it says you can only use this effect of white sardine once per turn. But this part right here is not a once per turn. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can treat it as a tuner. That is anytime it's summoned. And that's something that I think people overlook. So the effect of pitching itself from hand or pitching one from deck to special from hand, you can only use once per turn. But anytime the white sardine or the white sunfish comes back from the grave, you have the option to make it a tuner. And that's what makes these cards, in my opinion, relatively important. And so you have White Aura Porpoise. White Aura Porpoise comes back. I have the ability to special summon a level 4 lower fish monster. Now, it has the if condition. This is something that most people will overlook with the white auras. And I'm not sure why Konami did it to them because it doesn't work that way with the Ghoti. With the white auras, if they are the last thing in the chain, then they can resolve. If they go first in a chain and other things go before them, when it comes to their turn, for whatever reason, it just skips it. They miss timing. And I don't understand why. Because when I first started playing this and I was using White Aura Whale, I'm like, what the heck? It didn't give me the option to pop. When I used White Monoceros, same thing. It didn't give me the option to summon. It's because the last thing that has to happen in the chain is the White Aura effects have to go off. So White Aura Porpoise is the only one in this particular chain, so she can go off. To summon White Sunfish, Sunfish becomes a tuner, goes into Arianopos, and then this when the Ghoti plays go off. So what we've had so far was just the white plays, the white aura plays. Now we have the Ghoti plays. And with the white sardine and all of those things going off right now, this is making it hella easy for me to do a bunch of stuff. And as you're going to see right now, one copy of that particular mage from the Ice Bears is all you'll need because, as you can see, big brain plays. So I did two sixes, a level 10, and this is a very average hand, y'all, for this particular deck. And at the very end, I will have the ability, as you're about to see, to pull off some very fun shenanigans. So I'm gonna let that go off. I could have stopped it with IceJade Ymir, but I wasn't going to do that. Ymir is a very, very special card, and I'm sure most of y'all are already quite aware of what she does, but um she is the creme de la creme when it comes to generic water tens. When it comes to her effect, anytime your opponent activates an effect and you choose to respond to it with hers, you can then opt in to banish that card if it's able to be banished, of course. And what happens is it protects all of your monsters for that turn, even if she's removed from the field. It's a lingering effect. If it goes through and it resolves, then nothing from your field can be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects. Now, in case you were unaware, cards like Evenly Match say that the player decides which cards to banish face down. So your opponent's not making that decision. You are. So if someone had Evenly Matched and I activated her effect, I'm still losing my field. Anyway, let's go back to the big brain play. While I'm up against a Tearlaments player, Lord knows I hate Tearlaments. But as you remember seeing, I won this one. I didn't think I was going to, but I said, fuck it. I might as well give it a shot. Usually I would have just said, and just quit, but I was like, let's see what I can do with this Ghoti. And again, I would love to be able to do this live one day. I just have to, my router's not the best here. So, and all of this stuff happening right now is pretty generic Ghoti stuff. Whenever Zep leaves the field, I'm sorry, is summoned or banished during your turn, let me go back. Anytime Zep is banished during your opponent's turn, you can special summon it. Immediately after it's special summoned, you can synchro. And so, because I used one of the tokens and I used Psiics, it allowed me to, and of course Zep, it allowed me to use Croco Dragon's effect, and I was able to fortunately get Snopios. Now, I chose to get rid of this card. I'm not in the mood for branded. I don't know what they've got going on. I don't care. I'm not dealing with that. And then the same thing with this one. I know that this card, when it gets banished, there are times that they can bring it back. So I just destroyed it. I'm still dealing with monsters that are relatively beefy. So I'm not too concerned. Plus, I'm rocking this down here. And I was doing so much that I think this person forgot that I was running an ice barrier. And so that's obviously going to come into play, spoiler alert, but let me just show you what's going to happen. Because right now, as you can see, I still have Snopios, and the timer is crazy. And I wish the timer had showed you, what's going on. Because as fun as this deck is, you really have to know where you're going. Otherwise, you're going to run out of time. So instantly, 2,500 attack is lost. I'm sorry, life points. He lost 2,700 life points. His monster gets destroyed because I fucking hate that thing. Kiklos or whatever it is. I fucking hate that card. And then he sent something back, but it doesn't matter at this point because I'm over here. He's doing his stuff. It's totally fine. I don't need that. I know I don't need that. I think they know that I don't need that. And when the time comes and I end up getting ready to use Croco Dragon's effect, because I don't know what he's got. I don't know what all of these do, because as much as I hate tier laments, I haven't bothered to study them. If I weren't so lazy with this game, I think I would be a lot better. But I'm over here thinking to myself, do I have what it takes to beat this person? And so I'm doing all this stuff, making sure I've got all my ducks in a row. And meanwhile, I think my timer ended up going to like 60 seconds at that point. And that's why I was like, fuck it. Let me just go ahead and pop it and see. And then he didn't have anything. He was bluffing. So he could have surrendered the entire time knowing what was going to happen. But he decided to be like, you know what? He's popping my stuff. I've got nothing. And I was going to kill him. So yeah, Goaties versus tier laments. And I call this Fishborg Ghoti. I run a very small Fishborg package. I think it consists of 4 cards, 4 or 5, and so it's more like a fish deck with some of the Ice Jade splashed in. So I think this is the next one. This one took a while, and again, I think this is the one where I was hot dogging it. Now there are plenty of different tactics and things that you can use for this deck that are very linear. However, I like to showcase everything this deck can do. So this time I'm going to go ahead and just say fuck it. If they have Ash Blossom, they have Ash Blossom. They do not. And so they're over here, getting rid of all of these cards and I'm like, "Sweet. I know what the deepest depths can do." So I didn't lose that card. So I'm over here doing what I do. And this is just going like cuckoo bananas because now the deepest depths comes back and I'm over here at this point feeling pretty good. Nibiru comes. Could it hurt? Absolutely. But there's so much that I've got going on that with the deepest depths still in play, it's kind of over for them if they weren't able to stop this. And so I intentionally ended here. And why did I do that? Because I know that I've got two of them coming back. I've got Shif and I've got Keaf coming back. If I summoned Deepsea King, using paces. I have nothing in hand to discard. So if I'm over here summoning that just because it's there, it's a body on the field, that's a waste. It's something that they could come after. And granted, I do have protection from, banishment and destruction by card effect, but I didn't want to take that chance. I also don't want to overextend because what would happen is I could use this next turn if they somehow got rid of my field to kick off my plays again. So let's just go ahead and play it safe here. And again, like I said, hot dogging it. I was a little gun shy after that whole um, Ash Blossom thing, but when I realized that this person's playing like a bestial Blue Eyes deck, um, Blue Eyes don't have the support in MasterDuel yet that we've been promised and that we've been saying. So I'm not too concerned. And I know that this particular version is a beatdown. So am I going to lose life points? Yeah, but they don't do anything else. And knowing what I know with the monsters I have on field and in hand, I know that they're not going to be able to kill me. I mean, it would take a very smart engineer to put together a Blue Eyes deck that was going to be relevant enough to kill me here, and they just didn't have it. And so, big brain play here, in my opinion, because I know he was summoning Bestial Druid Swarm. Druid Swarm sends to grave, it doesn't destroy. So, if it was sent to grave, he could send any of my monsters on the field to grave. So, banish, get rid of that nonsense. And then I have the White Sardine, which is a non tuner, which is important because it can take me from sixes to eights relatively quickly. So right now I have eight on the field, but now I have Harpooner banishing, doing all of this stuff, and is woo. He takes control of my monster. Cool. I know he still does not have enough to kill me. And without getting rid of the deepest depths, if you can't get rid of the deepest depths and you can't kill a Ghoti player who has all of this already in play, um if you have no protection as far as back row goes, you're most likely going to get clapped on your next turn, which is exactly what happens with him. I know he's going to get clapped, and I know he has nothing because that's a Blue Eyes in hand. I take 3k to the face. He sacrifices my monster, which, again, with Aegrine, if they banish a card, she can summon herself back. But he ends up with a 3000 beater with nothing to summon, so I'm not sure why he didn't activate effect or if he couldn't activate effect. I didn't question it. I knew that that card doesn't do anything, and I'm over here summoning all of my stuff. I have Deepsea King in hand. I have enough monsters, so I'm just going to go the unconventional route. And so I'm summoning stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, what all can I do with what I've got? And so I just start summoning things like crazy. And this is when my timer goes like real, like cuckoo banana pants. So summoning all this stuff, he becomes a tuner, lifeless leafish, banish. I'm shuffling all that stuff. You're like, why are you doing that? Because I'm literally going to get Psiics back. So Arenopos comes, I get to banish a fish. Oh, look, I banish Psiics. What is Psiics going to do? Banish a card from hand so it can summon itself. And at this point, it's just so quick. Coral Anemone shows up, which puts another tuner back into play. This deck is just ridiculous. It's got so much resilience. But the problem is, as you saw with the Ash Blossom, it has to have um, a lot of establishment. And I love this play with Alvain. Some people may think it's superfluous. I don't think it is. I think that it's very necessary. It's also a one card combo. So if you have a level 4 in hand, and you need to a tuner that you don't have, you have Alvain. You also have Rare Fish for level 4 target, but again, future plays. And so going through all of this stuff, yeah. And I think he's trying to figure out where I'm going with this. And ta-da, that's where I'm going with this. and it's going to leave him, I think, with 800, no, 700 life points left. And I know that there's nothing else he can do. Like there's legitimately nothing else he can do. He cannot special summon a monster because I will just use Keaf. If he normal summons something, I can synchro, go into 8, banish. It's just shenanigans. And so he just decided to give up. He didn't surrender, granted. He did go out, swinging, but at that point, Blue Eyes versus Ghoti, it just didn't stand a chance. And I do believe, is that the last one? I think this is the last one. And I intentionally went second on this one because I won the coin flip, but I wanted to go second just to see what I could do. And this did not help. He just let me go. I apparently he got a terrible hand. I don't know what he's playing. I don't even think I think I kill him on this one. And you're gonna see why I play the Fishborgs in here because not only do I end up getting their tuning abilities, but also get their bodies because they have grave effects. And as you can see, I now have two bodies on the field that would have proved useless otherwise, but they're able to make coral anemone, and then coral anemone allows me to go off into my synchro plays. If I didn't have Fishborg launcher, that wouldn't have happened. And there's only one in deck. Granted, I can summon him whenever I need him, considering with the effects of Psiics and all of those other cards that let me just summon it out. But I mean, this is just 8,000 damage right off the bat, and it's pretty much over. There are a lot of people that want to play. I get it strategically, but from my understanding, from what I've seen a lot online, a lot of people want to play by the books. And by the books means what other people have put in play for them. I come from the generation of get as many bodies on the field as possible to make sure your stuff can work. Granted, now there are cards out there that can punish that strategy. I get it, but high risk, high reward, in my opinion. The Fishborgs help and they excel with that. Not only do they have effects engraved that could bring them back onto the field, but they also, when they get banished, are targets for Keaf, which during your next turn, you can use to do stuff because I have Monoceros, which is a level 7. If I have Psiics on the field and I have the level 1 launcher, synchro for 7, summon out any fish from my graveyard, whether it be a level 3 tuner, which I do have, or because they're the level 3 fish board, or just bring out Coelacanth because from my understanding, if I read Monoceros correctly, let me pause it real quick. Let me go to the deck so I can show you the build, and then I will be right back. Give you a little bit more understanding of what I'm talking about, and sort of go through my explanation on why I built the deck the way I built it. Also, if you would like, these are public. I'm going to leave them public for about another week, and then I'm going to delete them so that way I have more to show y'all. Alrighty, so I'm back. And I have just one of the launcher. Can't be used as synchro summon for material except for a water monster. All of my synchros, with the exception of Barone, are water, so that's not a handicap. If you have a monster in your graveyard other than Fishborg Launcher and all of them are water, I can special summon this. So the only restriction that this has is if I've used this already on Alvain or if for some reason you have Barone in grave. Typically, whenever I'm doing plays, I'm very conscientious of what I have in grave. And so I don't have to worry about that little restriction, but this being able to special itself as a level 1 tuner, and then I've got two here, so that's three, and then I can go into seven for where is it? Monoceros. Oh, I don't even have Monoceros in my extra deck. That's very upsetting. I used to have it, and I'm not sure why it's not here. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to put that back because Monoceros is an integral part to this. Now that makes me upset because I'm over here like, okay, I can eventually go into Monoceros, and I don't have that as a target. I'm glad I decided to do this. But anyway, you have a lot of targets for Monoceros, and Monoceros is summoned. So let me go ahead and find it. I think it's a where to go? No, it's further down, which I think is weird that it's considered a what is this called? A normal? It's an N, whatever that means. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Wow. You know what? This is dumb. I'm over here. I didn't know I had that many. Okay. So, Monoceros, when this card is synchro summoned, you can target one fish monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. So you can summon literally any of your fish. And that's weird. I guess this is not my wind and oh no, this is not my wind and water deck. Because my wind and water deck, I know during the tournament, I did summon Monoceros so I could summon Arianopos back, so I could synchro for 8, and I got Arianopos effect. So that's weird that I have it in my wind and water, but I don't have it. Well, that's because I'm not allowed to play Barone. But I don't know why Barone would not be in there. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Who's gonna bug me now? So what can I take out in instead? I know this may be controversial, but I don't believe I need two Askans. I believe that I can roll with one Askan and a Monoceros. I'm gonna have to test that out, but I don't believe that that's going to be too big of an issue. And to be quite honest, when it comes to white or whale, um, because it's so finicky, I might end up bringing the second Askin back and taking out white or whale. I believe that my plays to extend are much more important for my play style than having coverage from my extra deck because there are a lot of cards that will lock the extra deck and let's face it, if the extra deck gets locked for the goaties are fucked. There's nothing they can do. But anyway, Beautunaful. When this card is normal or special summoned, and that's from anywhere. Again, a Keaf target. Very, very good. And people don't expect it. So whenever Keef's on the field and I know that I've already used her, I can go ahead, they summon something. I summon Beautunaful. Beautunaful's gonna summon Ruby or Zep, and then Zep immediately gets the synchro. Or I will summon Lifeless Leafish. What does Leaffish do? Especially if I have one of these on field, I can send any of my fish to grave, including something that can be used like Psiics or Snopios if I know I have a way of banishing something. So I believe that two Beautiful are decent. They're one card starters, and also it baits out what are those things called? Ashes. They bait out ashes because say yes, I have a way of using this as my normal summon. Okay, I use that. Well, they ash it. If I have that in hand, or if I have this, or if I have this, I feel like these are more important than Beautunaful. Beautunaful is very linear. This gives me much more time to exercise my brain and sort of understand that I have other options. Especially in this as well. Granted, this one can be rather brainless too, very, very linear, but I personally prefer this over Beautiful as far as something that I would like to start off with rather than having something Ash. So if anything were to get Ash from my starters, I would much rather it be Beautiful. Having multiple one card starters that can just do something and then bring something else out from the deck that'll start your combo um is very very helpful. And there are times when I'll have this or I'll have this or any sort of combination of the both. If you take these two out, their ash targets are going to be things that are going to become more integral. And what are you going to put in their stead? What's going to be in Beautiful stead? There are some people that will put Hop Ear Squadron, which doesn't work well with Fishborg Launcher. And honestly, when it comes to Hop Ear Squadron and a lot of the plays that we make, it makes it so that you're doing level 8s. And the level 8s that I have, I literally have just these two. So this deck is pretty much 6s. And I did notice that I didn't go into Coral Dragon as often as I wanted. So let me go ahead and take Coral Dragon out. That's something that I did notice. And so let me go ahead and put Azcan back. I don't know if that yeah. So let me go ahead and put Azcan back and take Coral Dragon out because I'm over here trying to figure out why everything over here seems off. I don't think I had Coral Dragon in my wind and water Ghoti deck. I did have it in my Ice Barrier one, so maybe that's I'm getting them mixed up. Also, this one right here, there are so many cards that will end up banishing or ended up getting this into the grave, but also there are cards that will summon themselves. So this card summons himself, this is in hand, summoned itself, uses effect, go ham. And then once you start just doing a bunch of stuff, it's hard to get steamrolled out of there. Um, I don't know. This is just how I feel, and you've seen me play. That I think the Tier Elements opponent was the best example that I can use of all of these big brain plays. But to each his own. There's no real wrong way to play this deck, in my opinion. It's kind of got the hero complex, like the elemental heroes where there are so many cards that could go into this deck that people complain that it's bad. But if you were to stop and take a look at it, how bad is it really? Is it tier 0? No. But is it tier like 8? No, it's not that far down. This is not a Fortune Lady deck. This is in my opinion, a pretty decent rogue deck. The problem is with power creep, it's not on Snake Eyes level. It's not on original Tier Elements level. And people don't like that. I personally will never play a deck like that. So any deck you see me play on Master Duel, I will play because I think they're fun. And I'm not going to go out of my way to build the biggest and best and baddest deck because that's not fun for me. I don't like the whole put together a field so that my opponent can't play and then say I win. That to me is weird. I like to take the time to invest into this particular game decks that just say, "Oh, I don't want to play you. I'm going to put something up that you cannot play against." I mean, at that point, what's the point of playing? That's just my philosophy. Anyway, peace out for now. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Give me some likes, subscribes, and all of that stuff, and I will see y'all on the next one. In the comment section, tell me what you think about this build. Tell me what you would edit, and I will give it a try. I'm not going to change this one. I'll make a new one, but I will go ahead and give it a try, and I'll give you the credit for it. If I test it out and I think that it's better, if there are things that I've overlooked or things that just don't fit that you think are a problem, oh, and I'll give it a try. Thank y'all. Peace out for now.